A whole lot of confusion, naturally, will be about how web and email hosting works, and what is the difference between them. The majority of online services nowadays give these, so is it actually required to realize the differences? Just like you, we'll find carpenters who will perform all factors of a little task by themselves. Difficult carpentry, painting, finished carpentry, flooring, etc. You typically hire specialists when undertaking serious development tasks. Likewise, many hosting providers possess special areas of practice, and you are able to get one of the most for your income by choosing the services that meet your needs. To begin with, one should register its domain on the internet. Now that you have a domain book, the next thing is to get the domain index inside the Internet Phone Book, also called the Domain Name Service, or the DNS. When you are surfing around the Internet, domain names are a convenient way for individuals to remember sites and email addresses. Nevertheless, we all know that PCs only comprehend ones and zeros, so every little thing needs to ultimately be translated into a number. Each and every PC on the net, both web browsers and web servers, has what exactly is known as an IP address. It is an exclusive number that determines a certain machine on the network and works really a lot like a telephone number. Each time you type a domain name into your internet browser, the first factor your personal computer needs to do would be to perform a DNS lookup to find the address of the server for which it's looking. These days, practically all the domain registrars give DNS hosting services. As soon as you register a domain name, the registrar will typically produce a DNS listing that points to a typical page implying that the domain is part, but that a website does not exist yet. Okay, now, it is time to talk about internet browsing. So far, all we have done is secure the domain name and pointed any web browsers to the generic under construction sort of page. The very first question is, who should I use as a web host? Choosing a web host needs to be the result of finding the most effective match between the requirements of your website as well as the hosting company. This is largely dependent upon the technology that can be utilized in developing your website. Email hosting is comparable to web hosting in the sense that it need not necessarily be hosted by either your registrar or internet host providers. This is another case of choosing the host that makes probably the most sense for your specific scenario. Making use of myself as an example, many of my domain's email accounts are hosted by Google's Gmail service. This is configured by creating a change to the DNS records for your domain. You'll be able to see that email routing is also controlled by entries inside the DNS records. This is how it really is probable to direct distinct varieties of domain visitors to various servers. You can find a couple of points to take away from this with regard to web and email hosting. The first point is to recognize which you're not held to the register of your domain, or to also host your website or email. The second point is that a web hosting provider needs to be chosen based on the requirements of your website, not the other way around. Lastly, in several circumstances, you can benefit best providers in the form of increased service for less cash.